Welcome back, pro wrestling fans. Welcome back, IWC. It's your old buddy, the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy. And I tell it like it is. I'll say that to say this. Another special edition of Chaos Corner, live to tape 25 feet below the surface of the earth. Fans, I can't thank you enough for being here for today. This date, November 12th, in pro wrestling history. I just want to continue the shout out and respect to all our military men and women serving around the globe. All our military branches, all our armed forces, and especially what's going on here in this country, the United States of America. So thank you. It's a debt that can certainly never be repaid by any of us. So from the bottom of my heart, once again, as I repeat myself here again on Chaos Corner, thank you to all our military, all branches. Big shout out to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Without him, none of this would be possible. And without you, the fans, Chaos Corner wouldn't be possible. On Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, inbox me, email me, say something, hit that thumbs up, man. Get us in the algorithm. We're right there for the 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, and coming up on almost 500,000 total views on the channel here with 2,500 videos, with everyone from pillar to post and coast to coast and border to border. Another beautiful day here in the greater New England tri-state Northeast area. Grab a Bloody Mary, a mimosa, a cup of tea, coffee, brunch, whatever you want. We're thankful to be here. Tomorrow is not guaranteed for any of us. And Jesus Christ is coming back soon. Don't be caught dead without him. Let me get off that and get on to this. It's an interesting day of historical notes here on the YouTube channel. We're going to bounce off all the other social media platforms and meet me back here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. And I'll say that to say this again. Don't you dare miss it. Oh, come on back, man. Come on. All right, fans, we've jumped off all those other social media platforms, and you know what they are besides Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter, a.k.a. X, a.k.a. Twitter, whatever you want to call it, in real time, at Big Daddy G.O.C. And the G.O.C. stands for the Guardian of Chaos. On Instagram, it's the Guardian of Chaos. On Facebook, there's 2 accounts, J Brony, for all you jabronis, and Prodigio Fidelis El Guardian. Follow me on Getter, Gab, Truth Social, and Rumble. I cover it all in the IWC for you and for me. My stress reliever, my much needed distraction, and hopefully I provide that for you along with some entertainment. One man, unique, unedited, unscripted, raw dog for you, the fans. My over 55 years as a scout, an agent, a historian, a researcher, a smart, a mark. That's right, I say it every damn show, and I'll continue to say it. A fucking mark. That's what I am, and I'm proud of it. And so are all of you. Well, I apologize for the cussing. And of course, my over 3+ decades of pro wrestling manager, everywhere from pillar to post, coast to coast, and border to border, that took the fucking bumps too. How many of you can say that? Oh, no offense, man. Don't be so sensitive. Kayfabe, man, it's a work. I'm only joking. Don't get offended. But I tell it like it is. I give you the good, the bad, and the ugly on this channel. And this is what makes it relatable. And I know, and you know that I know that you're watching. Over 95% of you are not subscribers that are watching this channel. So hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, because I know you're watching, because the analytics tells me. Okay, it's an important day here, November 12th. As I said, Veterans Day weekend, and I've already said it, and I'll say it again, saluting all our military around the globe, around this great country. We're needed now, and they're needed now more than ever. A debt, as I've said this whole weekend, that could never be repaid for the men and women that have put their lifeline, their blood, and away from their families on the line for us. Let's jump right into, as I say, brass tacks for today, November 12th, this date in pro wrestling history. I enjoy doing this. This is the best part of my day, bringing you the history instead of the current 2023 product, which I still love and watch, but man, is it different. Totally different. Go back and do your research. Here we go. Into the time machine at Chaos Corner. November 12th, 1948. Danny McShane defeats Antonino Rocca for the NWA Texas Heavyweight title in Houston, Texas, starting McShane's second reign. November 12th, 1951. Jimmy Caulfield defeats Dennis Clary for the NWA Heart of America Heavyweight title, which, as you know, or maybe you don't know, and that's why I'm here and you're here, later known as the Central States title in Kansas City, Missouri. November 12th, 1965. Maurice Mad Dog Vachon defeats the Crusher in Denver, Colorado to win the AWA World Heavyweight title for the fourth time. Here's the caveat. The very next year, on the same date, November 12th, 1966, Dick the Bruiser defeats Maurice Mad Dog Vachon for the AWA World Heavyweight title in Omaha, Nebraska. Exactly 1 year after Vachon won it from Bruiser's tag team partner, the Crusher. Perhaps one of the greatest tag teams of all time, especially for the era, Bruiser and Crusher. Do your research. I love history. Back into the time machine. November 12th, 1979. Billy Robinson defeats Super Destroyer Mark II. You thought I was going to say 3. 2. To win the AWA British Empire Heavyweight title in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, making and marking Robinson's third time winning the title. Now, question for you fans. You know I do this every time for trivia. Super Destroyer Mark II was who in 1979? I'll give you a second to think about it, to dwell on it, to ponder it. Bueller. Bueller? Anyone? Super Destroyer Mark II, back in 1979, who lost to Billy Robinson for this AWA British Empire Heavyweight title, was none other than Sergeant Slaughter, you maggots. How about that for useless tidbits of professional wrestling history from the G.O.C.? Honey Lemon, it's unbelievable for the pipes. Again, thank you for all your well wishes over these last couple of weeks. I feel tremendous. Oh, yeah, I do feel tremendous. I also feel with my hands. Back into the time machine. November 12th, 1982. Danny Davis defeats Bruce Hart for the Stampede British Commonwealth mid-heavyweight title in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, ending Bruce Hart's second reign. Again, you know how I feel about weight classes. It should be brought back in today's age. It just should. Separate the big, the mid, and the small. That's just the way it should be. Because I'm the OG, the triple OG, the old man brand, the over 50 and now 60 demo god. Look at the numbers, and we got the State of the Union address for this channel coming up very soon with the analytics. Back into the time machine. November 12th, 1993. Pro Wrestling's Ken Shamrock competes in the very first ever UFC show in Denver, Colorado, defeating Patrick Smith in the first round of the tournament, before ultimately losing to the one and only unbelievable legend, Royce Gracie, in the semifinals of the very first UFC. Gracie would go on to win the tournament. November 12th, 1993, the very first UFC. Let that marinate. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. How about that? Back into the time machine. November 12th, 2001. Matt and Jeff Hardy defeat Booker T and Test for the World Wrestling Federation World Tag Team titles in Boston, Massachusetts, to begin their fifth reign. How about that for the Hardys? Still active today in AEW. On that same event, Edge, Adam Copeland now in the AEW, how about that as well, still active all these years later, would be the last United States champion until WWE reviews and revives the title in 2003. Now, Edge defeated Kurt Angle for the WCW United States title on November 12, 2001. Obviously, the WWF had bought out WCW after the Monday Night Wars. and then ran, whether it was the WCW under the WWF banner, and then later on ECW under the WWF banner. You can't make it up. I'm as confused as a baby at Hooters, but I am certainly busier than a blow-up doll at a frat party. You guys understand that? And don't be offended. If you don't like it, change the fucking channel. No offense. I don't mean to cuss, but it happens. I gotta wrap myself up in chains. You know my past. So how about that? Edge defeats Angle for the WCW United States title. And then the WWE revives that title in 2003. Back in that era, that's 20 years ago, 21, 22 years ago, what a cluster when WWE had all three companies. Really was impressive what happened there, but it certainly made for a big clusterfuck. Back into the time machine, November 12th, 2003. TNA, which is coming back in 2024, Impact Wrestling TNA, we've been talking about this every day. They hold their weekly pay-per-view in Nashville, Tennessee at the fairgrounds. The show was headlined by the return to the ring of Lex Luger, the total package, in his first match since being arrested in May of 2003 for possession of steroids following a police search of his residence after Miss Elizabeth Howlett, however you say it, an unbelievable classic lady, truly a professional. It really was an unbelievable lady. After she died at Lex Luger's house, if you remember that tragic story from 2003. That's right, Miss Elizabeth passed at Luger's house, for those of you who haven't done your due diligence and your research. Reportedly, Luger was put on the show at the insistence of longtime friend Sting, who we just saw last night in a six-man tag team match at 65 years old, still competing with AEW. But we look back on this tragic event of 2003 and the passing of Miss Elizabeth. Luger, on that card, Sting and AJ Styles defeat Lex Luger and Double J, old slapnuts himself, Jeff Jarrett, after Sting hit Luger with his infamous baseball bat as Luger had Styles in the torture rack. This would be, if I'm not mistaken, Luger's last match for a major promotion. Now think about that in 2003 and what happened with Lex Luger. Hooked up with Miss Elizabeth, got her involved in drugs. That's not just rumor, speculation, and innuendo. Those are facts. She passes away at Luger's house. He gets busted for steroids. They say Miss Elizabeth's death was accidental. And then he comes back for his last major appearance in a promotion. Who now Luger has been born again as a Christian. God bless Lex Luger for repenting and being the person who he is. That's just my personal opinion. But he comes back at the request of Sting. So put all that together in the pot and mix it around. Stir that and think upon that. November 12th, 2003. Back into the time machine. November 12th, 2006. During the first set of Wrestling Society X tapings in Los Angeles, California, Vampiro defeats Sean Waltman, a.k.a. X-Pac, the Lightning Kid, the 1-2-3 Kid, to become the first WSX champion. How about that? Back into the time machine. November 12th, 2007. WSB TV in Atlanta reported that DNA testing done on the Benoit family has been returned. Fayetteville, Georgia DA Scott Ballard, you got to do your due diligence. This is all out there for public information, public consumption. He told the station that the results did not change the sheriff's conclusion that the Benoit tragedy was the result of a murder-suicide committed by Benoit, as we know, but didn't expound on that statement. So just think about, on this date in history, the tragedies, from Miss Elizabeth to Luger's indiscretions, the Benoit family, the murder-suicide, all the notes that have come out. Really was tragic times for you fans that may not know about this. Back into the time machine, November 12th, 2007. Batista returns to Monday Night Raw for their go-home show before Survivor Series to challenge The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell. Lord William Steven Regal intervenes and says tonight they will team up before that Hell in a Cell match at Survivor Series to face the then WWF Tag Team Champions, Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch. Now, Taker and Batista would go on to win that match. But that was Batista's return, November 12th, 2007. Back into the time machine here at Chaos Corner, the YouTube channel, the mothership. November 12th, 2009, the WWE in Germany. On that card, the Intercontinental Triple Threat match. John Morrison, the champion, defends and defeats Matt Hardy and Dolph Ziggler. On that same card, remember the intertwining of WCW, ECW, and the WWE buying them out. ECW champion Christian Cage defeats Lord William Steven Regal. Also on that same card, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship casket match. The Undertaker defeats CM Punk. Here in 2023, where will Punk end up? We know all the problems in AEW. Not his fault, in my opinion. Will he go to the WWE like all these people are saying, the dweebs, geeks, nerds on the internet? No offense. Will he go to Impact? Who knows where Punk will be? Will he stay retired? There's a lot of conjecture out there about CM Punk. He certainly popped the ratings. But that was November 12th, 2009, losing the casket match to The Undertaker. Let's stay in November 12th, 2009. The Fox TV drama show Bones, if you remember Bones, Dr. Bones, featured a wrestling-inspired episode after the body of a midget who wrestled as the Leprechaun is discovered. How about that going mainstream on Fox? On Bones. It's a pretty damn good show. November 12th, 2009. Let's stay in November 12th, 2009 on this date today in pro wrestling history. TNA on its TV Impact broadcast, looking back at the announcement and the Hulk Hogan signing with TNA and a big round table they had and the coup of Hulk Hogan going to TNA back in November 12th, 2009. Let that sink in. How Hogan went from originally he was in the WWF and then how he was the huge star in AWA and then Vince Jr. brings him back to the WWF to become who he was, and then Hulkamania running wild, only to leave years later to go to WCW and form with the NWO, and then ending up in TNA. I mean, Hogan has certainly been around the block, certainly changed this business. Whether he's a pathological liar or not, I'll leave that up to you. I mean, who am I to decide? I'd have to look in the mirror, although I tell it like it is. November, let's go forward to go back and back to go forward. November 12th, 2008. This is since the third quarter of the stocks and the analytics of WWE, which you know I like to get into. The stocks in November 12th of 2008 dipped to $12.43 a share at closing. Now you know what it is now in today's age. What is it, over $100 a share? 2008 is not that long ago, although it seems like a lifetime in the current chaos, pun intended, of 2023 and how this world is spiraling out of control right now, especially here in this country. Stand up for yourself. Situational awareness. Stay close to your family and friends. Look up to the sky. Walk in faith. As I said in the beginning, I don't want to be too political, too religious here, but it is my channel. I will put out my message. That was the lowest the stock had dipped in at least a year. A 37% drop in net income. Now, we know in current day 2023 and the merger of UFC and Endeavor for billions of dollars and Vince McMahon taking a back seat, who knows how much, and just recently selling off millions of his stocks. So let's see what happens in current day 2023, fans. I'd like to give you the history here. That's why it's called today, This Day in Pro Wrestling History. Let's go back into the time machine. You see, I always have my notes. I'm always prepared. November 12th, 2010, the WWE in Cologne, Germany. On that card, in a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship, The IC champion Dolph Ziggler defends over Chavo Guerrero, Kofi Kingston, and get this, the dashing Cody Rhodes, who now in 2023 is the Nightmare Cody Rhodes, on that chase for the WWE Heavyweight title. On that same card, WWE World Heavyweight Championship match saw Kane, the champion at the time, versus John Cena. You can't see me, but I can see you. Ends in a no contest after the Nexus, if you remember that, interferes during Cena's attempt at the STF. A lot of people forget about the Nexus back then. It wasn't that long ago, 13, 14 years ago. Let's stay on November 12th, 2010. The AP features an interview with Linda McMahon, where she mentioned that she had no regrets over spending $50 million on her Senate bid. She believed that the WWE was unfairly attacked by the media during her bid and had no problem with her stand up for the WWE campaign, calling it right and proper. Now, she would lose to that clown Dick Blumenthal, who's still currently involved in the government and the Constitution State here in the greater New England tri-state Northeast area. Stolen valor on Blumenthal, who's a complete liar. I'm just telling it like it is. This is public information that you can find out for yourself. I'm not speaking out of place here. And why would the McMahons care about spending $50 million on a campaign or anything else, considering they've gotten a company worth billions in what Vince has done? I'm just going to say that to say this because I tell it like it is. Let's stay in November 12th, 2010. Dragon Gate USA presents its untouchable 2010 debut on pay-per-view. Everybody's on pay-per-view now or streaming services. That's 2010, November 12th, Dragon Gate USA. The very next year, November 12th, 2011, Dragon Gate USA holds its Bushido 2011 pay-per-view from the ECW Arena in Philadelphia. Now, we know ECW was defunct at the time, but all these other companies, and including today in 2023, still use that legendary venue, the Riot Place in Philadelphia, known as the ECW 2300 Arena. Speaking of that, let's stay in November 12th, 2011. Combat Zone Wrestling presents Night of Infamy at the ECW Arena, 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So you see the trend just 10, 11, 12 years ago, and even current to this day, that building full of history since I believe, 93, 94 when ECW started, running in that building, not to mention the infamous Elks Lodge in Queens, which I had a chance to perform in many times. Let's jump back into the time machine. November 12th, 2018. Monday Night Raw. SmackDown, this is an infamous concerning women's division of women's wrestling, current to today in 2023. The SmackDown women confront the Raw women. During that melee, Nia Jax breaks Becky Lynch's nose, removing Becky from the upcoming Survivor Series match, catapulting Lynch's career, aka The Man, which is crazy in itself. Never liked that gimmick. Her reputation through the roof as images of her bloody face and unfazed look went viral, showing the WWE how unsafe Nia Jax was at that time. And that was not the first or last time that Nia would be unsafe. But here in 2023, you see she's back in the WWE. To think that wasn't that long ago in 2018 and how Becky's career, through the roof, as I said, from a broken nose, that bloody nose that turned her in from Becky Lynch to The Man. Now her character's a little cringeworthy, as is her husband, Seth Rollins. What is the gimmick? I mean, I don't even understand. What is it, a cross between Freddie Mercury and David Bowie if they had a baby? I mean, I don't know. But that's this date in history, November 12th, 2018, Nia Jax laying a smackdown, if you will, on Becky Lynch. Back into the time machine, we'll go forward to go back. November 12th, 1979. Today, happy birthday, Matt Capitelli, who turns 44. And now, for those of you that may not know, and maybe you watch the current OVW product with owner, operator Al Snow, Matt Capitelli right now from MTV Tough Enough fame, and then you know he had his battle with cancer, is now running the OVW Beginners Program. Congratulations, Capitelli, and happy 44th birthday. Also, today, November 12th, the Disco Inferno turns 56 today. A happy birthday, Disco. A lot of people don't like you, but it is what it is. You never did anything to me, Disco. He turns 56 today. What else do we have here, fans? November 12th, 1991. Ripper Collins passes away of skin cancer at the age of 58. Now, Ripper would go on to retire in 1980, and for those of you that don't know about the legendary Ripper Collins, let me give you a brief history. Ripper Collins was the NWA Hawaiian title. He held that 7 times. Mahalo and aloha for all my friends over there in Hawaii, the 50th state. Speaking of that, it was the 50th state big time wrestling with Ripper Collins. Again, 7-time NWA Hawaiian champion. 15-time Hawaiian Tag Team Champions. He actually went on to own a legendary nightclub over there in Hawaii called the Squared Circle. Again, he retired in 1980. So rest in peace on this date, November 12th, 1991. Ripper Collins passes at the age of 58. Back into the time machine. Let's go forward to go back. November 12th, 1971. Tarzan Tyler and Crazy Luke Graham beat the Mongols, Beppo and Ghetto, to win the WWF International Tag Team titles. Now, those belts were retired the very next year in 1972. Here's another trivia question for you. No, we have to go through this and bring it into every show. I want to put you guys' mind to the test to the mind, whatever you want to call it, however you want to see it, tomato, tomato, potato, potato, testing your knowledge on pro wrestling history. The Mongols, Beppo and Ghetto. Beppo would go on to be who in the Worldwide Wrestling Federation? McFly. Bueller. This never gets old for me. Bueller. What a classic movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Anyone? Beppo Mongo went on to be the legendary and Worldwide Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champion many times over, Nikolai Volkov. I don't know. Is that supposed to be the Russian national anthem? How the fuck would I know, man? I'm American. I'm USA, man. America first. I apologize for the cussing again. But how about that? Beppo Mongo, Nikolai Volkov. One and the same. November 12th, 1984, from Memphis, Tennessee. Jerry the King Lawler faces King Kong Bundy with Rick Rude as the special referee. The match was a no disqualification match with Lawler's hair up against Bundy's Southern Heavyweight title. Lawler won the match and the belt and kept his hair. On that same card, brothers Macho Man Randy Savage, a.k.a. Randy Poffo, and Leaping Lanny Poffo beat Eddie and Tommy Gilbert in a coal miner's glove match. On that same card, Ravishing Rick Rude beat the Boogie Woogie Man, Handsome Jimmy Valiant. Well, actually, my bad on that, and I don't want to have to refer to what Bully Ray said to me in 06-07, because I just did it. I'll say it calmly this time. Give the Guardian of Chaos Big Daddy, or he said Big Daddy, 5 spots. He'll fuck up 4 of them. I take that as a compliment coming from Bully Ray. Just to be able to work with the Dudleys for the NWA World Tag Team titles. How about that? Let that sink in. Macho Man Randy Savage and his brother Leaping Lanny Poffo, as I said, I'm repeating myself here again to get back in order, beat the Gilberts in a coal miner's glove match, which leads me to Rick Rude and Jimmy Valiant beat the Dirty White Boys in a New York street fight held in Memphis, Tennessee. Oh, who knew? You guys get the whole Bully Ray comment now, right? On that same card, Phil Hickerson beat national champion Ronnie Garvin via disqualification. Let's go forward to go back. November 12th, 1973, from Madison Square Garden, the mecca of all arenas. Worldwide Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion Pedro Morales defends his title over Larry the Axe Hennig. And look at the different champions and how it all melded together in the 70s under Vince Sr. when there were still territory systems, the golden era, the best time in pro wrestling, the 70s and the 80s. That's just my viewpoint. On that same card, AWA World Heavyweight Champion Vern Gagne defeats Mr. Fuji. Konnichiwa, bitches. Origato from the G.O.C. song. Also, on that card, Andre the Giant and Chief Jay Strongbow beat Blackjack Lanza and future Worldwide Wrestling Federation champion, the Heart Punch, Stan the Man Stasiak in a tag team match. Also on that card, Mike McCord and Manuel Soto. No offense, man, for all my Spanish-speaking friends. It's a work, man. Kayfabe. McCord and Soto wrestled to a draw. Here's another one, and it's the third time. And again, this never gets old for me, so hopefully not old for you. Mike McCord would go on to be who? Who? Leave a comment. Bueller. Anyone. Mike McCord would go on to be the unbelievable legend known as Austin Idol. How about that for another useless tidbit and factual information on pro wrestling history, brought to you by the Guardian of Chaos YouTube channel and your old buddy, the G.O.C. That's me. Let's continue here in a time machine on this date in pro wrestling history. November 12th, 1988. TBS began a rare TV match in the second hour of its Saturday night wrestling show on TBS, obviously, featuring the NWA World Champion, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, took place. It became a common occurrence to see the world champion wrestle on TV weekly. Are you getting that, current day 2023 and current wrestling fans under the age of 30, 35? You guys get it? You talk about Roman Reigns, and we're talking about titles and streaks and days and years and beating this champion and that champion. 54 title defenses for Reigns in almost 4 years? It's embarrassing. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Back in the NWA in the 80s, proof right here in the pudding, facts, and that's what I present. The TV champion defended, or the world champion defended on TV weekly. Weekly. A lot of people out in the IW say, man, different podcasts. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see the champion weekly. It should be just for pay-per-views. It should be for special events. Bullshit. If you're a champion, a fighting champion, a real champion, that's why Ric Flair in the NWA title was truly the world heavyweight champion. The one. All different territories, all over the country on a weekly basis. That's what a world champion's all about in the world of professional wrestling. You don't agree with it, that's okay. You're allowed to, your opinion. But this is it, 1988. The world champion wrestled on TV weekly. Let it sink in. Ric Flair took on jobber enhancement talent George South, who's a damn legend and a great grappler in his own right. And that's how much respect Flair had for George South and how we had respect for each other in the business, whether you're a jobber, mid-carder, or top elite talent. Now, it didn't happen everywhere, but for the most part, that's the difference. Today's business and yesteryear, the golden era. Now, Flair made South look great in that match. It's on YouTube. Go back and check it out. George South and Ric Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Weekly for the world champion. I want that point not to be lost on you guys. On this date, November 12th, 1999, I'd like to give my condolences to a man I knew personally who helped me out in my career many times by booking me for CWA, NWA, NWA New England, and this man also worked in the World Wrestling Federation. My condolences to the late, great Triple B from the Dirty Water, the Boston bad boy, Tony Rumble. On this date, November 12th, 1990 way, Tony Rumble passes away. God bless Tony Rumble. What he did for the greater New England tri-state Northeast area is unmatched. Say what you want about him. Yeah, he was cantankerous and told it like it is. I appreciated his candor, and he let me work for him and allowed me to work for him several times throughout the years. And I'll never forget that. Rest in peace, Tony Rumble. November 12th, 1999. Now let's go way back in the time machine. November 12th, 1937. Legendary boxing referee and TV host Judge Mills Lane was born on this date in pro wrestling history in 1937. Let me give you a little background on the late, great Judge Mills Lane, legendary boxing referee, also involved in the world of professional wrestling if you know your history. 1998 on Monday Night Raw, from his courtroom, Judge Mills Lane made a decision that would pave the way for Stone Cold Steve Austin to challenge The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, later on that night in 1998 on Monday Night Raw. Also, the very next year, 1999, at WCW Bash at the Beach. Now here's Judge Mills Lane during the Monday Night Wars, not only on WWF, but WCW. With Bash at the Beach, he refereed a boxing match between Rowdy Roddy Piper and Buff Bagwell. How about that? And let's not forget, perhaps, Mills Lane's most infamous night ever, the fight between the heavyweight title fight, I believe it was for at the time, Evander Holyfield and Iron Mike Tyson, where Tyson took a chunk and a bite out of Evander Holyfield's ear during that fight. Judge Mills Lane would go on to disqualify Iron Mike. How about that for a legendary career from Mills Lane? All due respect. Now, Mills is no longer with us. He just passed recently, December of 2022, at the age of 85. Happy birthday and rest in peace, Judge Mills Lane, a true legend in boxing, television, and pro wrestling. How about that for history? We're a little over 35 minutes. I enjoyed the heck out of this show. I appreciate you guys so much for being here on Guardian of Chaos, the YouTube channel. Again, this is my love, my passion, my motivation, besides the big man up above and my family, and I hope that comes across to you, the fans. All chicanery and works and gimmicks aside, this is who I am. A combination of the Guardian of Chaos Big Daddy and who I am personally. And for those of you that know me, you know this to be true. So I'll save that to say this, because I tell it like it is. God bless you all. Much love and respect. I'll see you back here tomorrow. And don't you dare miss it. I'm not done yet. I gotta hydrate. I always have to hydrate here on Chaos Corner. It's about health, not about wealth. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Keep that in mind, fans. Fans and freaks and geeks.